What I'm basically talking about is an interview that Masahiro Sakurai had just put out recently, and basically just talking about the gaming industry and what makes, Japanese games, and how they can, move forward as a whole when it comes to the Japanese gaming industry. And once again, just like Nomura, just like, Yuji Horii, just like Kodaka as well, just again cooking and telling the truth of basically how the industry is now and what they need to actually aim for. The complete opposite of what Hamaguchi from FF7's, I want to say, director of the remake project has said about the whole global standards of things when it comes down to what to aim for, how to go about certain things and stuff like that, right? And I'm gonna come back to that whole Hamaguchi thing in a minute, but to basically go into what Sakurai was talking about, he had a whole interview, and basically what it was just going down to is, again, the Japanese gaming industry and how to continue moving forward. And essentially, I'll be quoting from this post right here. It's a little different in terms of words, but still, it generally is the same type of idea. So basically, the interview and what Sakurai's answer was when it comes down to, how games should be in Japanese. He basically said, a while ago there was certainly a culture of making Americanized products because of various works were popular in the United States. However, I feel that Japanese games lovers overseas are not looking for such things, but for something unique and interesting from Japan. Absolutely the effing reason why we all appreciate this man. Exactly the reason why as well we all jump ship to things like manga and anime and Japanese games as a whole. And I said it before as well, we don't come here because we want to see everybody basically do the same damn thing, just different devs in different places, but the same damn product. No. We don't come here for that. We come here because you provide something that the West can't necessarily sit here and do. As much as I glaze the hell out of Japan and all the stuff they have done, honestly, I glaze them because they provided something that I don't see gets done in the West in terms of my entertainment. When it comes down to what they can make, they do genuinely make some of the most interesting, weird, and out there ideas. And it's always just a pleasant surprise to see something new and see something that I haven't heard of or thought about ever before, and all the things of sort like that, and that's what appeals over to that side, right? You would never see something like this happening in the West, especially when it comes to what they make now. And when it comes down to how Japanese people kind of make their shows and, the games and stuff like that, there's always something different in there that you will never see an American style, show or game typically ever really do. Hell, if we're going to be absolutely honest, the reason why, even in like the 90s to a point and even the early 2000s, why certain shows even gotten as good and as popular as it was, is because they copied over some of the style of what anime did to kind of bring it over to make it work. Like, why do you think people still give a shit about OG Teen Titans and care about the cast and how the art looked and everything about it back then? It's because it was mainly also Japanese inspired. Sure, yes, American hero characters and stuff like that, but the style of it, the vibe of it, and all that type of stuff, it definitely had Japanese influence into it, and that's why people remember it, In the very same way, you could say that about Ben 10 too. Like, everybody remembers how cool that shit is. There's definitely a fair amount of Japanese influence when it comes down to it, and it looks mad good. People will remember early ass Ben 10 and not necessarily complain about it. And that's the whole point. They were making stuff back then that was fun, a good idea, and not necessarily so high-end focused for profits and how to, make things kind of work by investors and stuff like that. No. They wasn't listening to any of that. They were trying to make something good that people can absolutely sit here and enjoy. And that's why Japan always succeeded in that department. Even through its roughest patches at times, it still has good ideas that it pushes out. Even though sometimes it's kind of rough to kind of look through some of that stuff, but still, they know how to cook. It's also the reason why China has been cooking with their whole systems of things and everything right now, like Black Myth Wukong, and obviously everything that Hoyo is doing, as well as Wuwa and whatever, right? Same thing with South Korea, you know, with whole ass Nikkei, and I want to say Blue Archive. Is Blue Archive South Korean? I am not sure, but also you had like Stellar Blade as well. You know, they are cooking themselves when it comes down to how good their shit is. But the West, can they provide that shit? No, we get The Last of Us Part 2 remastered like a billion times and then just push that out because that's all these people want to do. Xbox sucks ass because they don't know what the hell to do with their consoles when there is ideas, they just ain't trying hard enough. Then you get people that is on the PlayStation side of, you know, first party games trying to basically put messages in games or make the characters feel like they're less than they usually are when they already are established, like Spider-Man or whatever. And you get people like Neil Druckmann who keep making boring ass bullshit ass games that no one gives two F's about, and then questions why does everyone hate me so damn much? I don't know, it's because you are literally the message man. Like, no one's caring about Intergalactic when they come out, sir. I promise you it's going to get the same bullshit ass treatment as Assassin's Creed Shadows. And the only reason why people are praising, or at least news outlets are praising the hell out of Assassin's Creed Shadows, is probably because they got paid to do so. That's probably the only reason as to why, even though the game itself is pretty much really something that no one is going to want to just actually go out and play and enjoy when it comes down to, you know, all the drama that has surrounded it and how unapologetic Ubisoft is in terms of the assholery that they've just been on for the past couple of months and even some months before that. All these Western companies, they all basically done the same damn thing. That's literally been their motto for a long period of time. That's why some of these people that used to run these companies and used to, you know, be at the top level making decisions, they're not there anymore. And they kind of dipped out because they knew this nonsense was going to happen, and they just got out before it got worse for them. So essentially, that's kind of also part of the reason why we have games being made the way it is now, and it's sad, right? And it's even worse when it tries to affect other places like Japan and try to make them, you know, make something that's American slop when that's not their wheelhouse. That's not what they do, you know. And again, the crazy thing is America has their own ass stuff that they can use to be dope as hell. Again, the 90s and 2000s were a thing. Why don't you do stuff with what you had back in the day? You know, it's not too late. You can still provide some heated ass content, like something like a Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, or things like a My Life as a Teenage Robot and stuff like that. And people will still give a shit, right? If you brought back something like that, stop putting all the nonsense woke stuff into things and try to change it for an agenda for whatever reason. I promise you, you can still get good quality shit. You can still get something amazing and dope as hell. The only reason why you're not getting that is because people now, at least in the West, don't know how to do shit else. They don't know how to create that sauce that they had back then, and all they know how to do is give you 10 pounds of crap that's not even worth actually sweeping off the floor. Like Neil out here trying to make all these damn messages with his games and shit. I promise you, a crack dealer that is effing a prostitute and has tons of damn diseases can tell you a equal message compared to what Neil can also put out, right? If not even more, because that's all it is, right? Especially with games like that. It's fine if you want to have a message in your game or whatever, but for crying out loud, give the people something to care about that isn't just that. Because if you're not giving any people, you know, if you're not giving people anything to care about and just your bum ass message, at the end of the day, no one's caring. No one's going to care. You could definitely say, oh, I don't give a shit, I'll do what I want, and then you're still gonna flop and fail, and at some point someone's gonna get sick of your shit, and somebody might be like, you know what, we're gonna just demote you from making shit ever again, because we ain't trying to waste any type of money. We're trying to make money. We're not trying to waste shit. And hopefully, once Intergalactic comes out, they'll give Neil the boot in some shape and form. But that's just, again, how much things have changed from back then to now. And on the Japanese side, when it comes down to everything that they do, it sucks so hard to see, you know, these credit card companies try to jump in and try to assault their culture, and then you have people in these higher up places of these entertainment industries and things of sort like that, these activists, to water down the content that's being made when no one's asking for that. And that is so why I'm happy for this interview that Sakurai did, because he did bring up that yes, people overseas that likes Japanese stuff like it for what it is normally, and that's for it to be a Japanese product. And it's so good. It's so damn good, right? I'm glad he said that specifically, because I feel like there's a lot of people over there in Japan, like especially like regular people, that might be like, why is things like this? Why do all Americans want this? Not everybody wants this shit. Everybody essentially wants Japan to make Japan games. That's how it is. If Samurai Kagura was still here, if Xseed and Marvelous had balls for 5 seconds to just drop a new Samurai Kagura, be unapologetic like they always have been, I promise you, shit will be great. Maybe not selling like, you know, the way you would want it to sell, but still, it'll be something that people still gives a shit about. Let's just be absolutely honest. Plus, in terms of the quirky and weird and different games that they have over there, I'm not necessarily gonna lie, there is like a lot of stuff that we have probably never seen and never even thought could be possible as a game to be made, and yet it is. I'm not gonna sit here and even hold you. There is ideas in my brain for the longest time of games I would like to see get made, even though I know the chances of them being made is effing impossible. Koikatsu was one of those games I thought genuinely was impossible. Oh, I would like to see a game where you can make all kinds of characters kind of be in the same space if you want to. You know, have characters from one IP to another IP to a whole another IP to kind of come in without too much hassle and just do whatever you want with that. Have a game where you can actually show off, you know, different body parts and everything like that, and just do whatever you want to. Smash, fight, doesn't necessarily matter. And Koikatsu gave me that. It was one of the dream games I've always thought about as a kid, just like, damn, it would be cool if we had a game like that. And Koikatsu exists. You know why? Because it came through by Japanese hands, because they knew people can cook with something like that, and they provided for it. Dear gosh, I never thought something like that would ever really exist, and yet it does. And it's amazing. Every time I boot up Koikatsu, I always think, damn, how does this game exist? Because this is absolutely wild. Sure, it may not be officially all the, you know, real characters and everything like that. It's modded, but still, the fact that someone has a process of something that can let that be the case is insanity to me. This is exactly why I didn't also really care for Yoshi P's take of RPGs and versus JRPGs. This man really went on, I think, a whole interview or whatever, basically talking about, yo, Japanese RPGs should just be regular RPGs. And just, that's the name of just RPGs. Should be just RPGs in general, just treat it the same. No, that is not something I agree with, because JRPGs are hella different. They have a cool thing about them that makes things just work for it, and you know, that's the whole proper thing of it. That's why we care. Again, if it's something that comes from your hands, from your own culture, we're gonna care. That's kind of how it is, right? We don't want to see it try to be changed up for moral reasonings and all this modern ass stuff for a modern audience that does not exist. We don't care about that shit. We just want to see what you can do and what your culture can provide to bring entertainment and expose people for your with your culture to just kind of get people interested as well. Which brings us back to Hamaguchi's whole interview talking about how Square Enix wants to focus more on a global, you know, modern audience type of like style of getting more people in. And here's my whole thing with that whole speech. I don't think what he said is wrong. I don't. I think the way you go about it is definitely the biggest issue when it comes down to it. Because if you want to expand your audience, you want to go global and all that type of stuff, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a wrong choice. I don't think there's something really wrong with that. That being said, I think the giant ass problem is how you go about it. How much shit are you letting in and how much shit are you not gonna let out, right? How much of that stuff are you gonna change and what isn't gonna change, right? Because when people say global audiences, that's not really a bad thing. It's what are you about to do to kind of, you know, get to those people. That's the thing that you need to be worried about, if I'm being honest. That's why in certain aspects I can understand why certain people just don't necessarily jump into certain games, or don't necessarily play certain games by Japanese developers in certain companies, because it does go to that global audience scale of things. And it is like, yeah, this shouldn't, you know, be a thing how they went about it, right? But then there's other projects where it's like they say that and then it's still basically the same damn game. It's not necessarily anything to worry about, right? And it very much, again, especially on Square Enix's case, I get the damn worry, right? That's why I'm personally kind of worried about Cage 4 and really hope they don't add no weird ass thing to Kingdom Hearts whatsoever. It is, for me personally, the last damn bastion of a game that I care about to a high ass degree, outside of things like Genshin and all the other gacha games out there, right? That is like the last true single player bastion of game that I genuinely care about. Now granted, I don't think we should have to worry about that, because Nomura is on the project, and when it comes down to it, he's already said his own piece about it, with characters being ugly as shit. He don't like them. He likes characters looking beautiful and good. He likes things done his way, right? The same kind of, you know, advice and idea that the creator Danganronpa also said, Kodaka. Basically meaning like, if I make games for people that like the same type of shit that I do, if you want to come along with the journey, cool, but don't expect me to just basically fold and cave in. Same thing with the creator of Dragon Quest, when it comes down to the whole male body part and female body part of customizing character. Who's asking for these changes? We all want to know, and we already kind of have an idea. It's the bitch ass West people that want to try to change things in the industry, and there's plenty of other devs that obviously knows what the hell is going on, right? They absolutely know, and it's only just a matter of time for people to come through and be like, why the hell are we following this shit? Let's just make the shit that we know how to make, that is obviously mad saucy. Let's just see what we can absolutely do for ourselves and put our Japanese audience first. Now, as I say that, does that necessarily mean that every single, you know, way of how Japanese media should be made, it should be for their audiences and it works for that every single time? You get rare instances like Sonic that honestly works better outside of Japanese people, because yeah, Sonic is rebellious, Japanese people are not. And when it comes down to it, Sonic works hella well with, you know, Americans, because it was so catered to them. And you know, they're from, you know, Japan and a Japanese team and all that type of stuff. Lots of people don't even really care for Sonic in Japan, which is crazy to kind of find out about when I learned about it. But still, nonetheless, yes, you will get situations where there is going to be a game or a franchise or a show or whatever that just works well in Westerners' hands, and it just is saucy. That being said, you're not gonna pull a Sonic in every single situation, right? Even Sonic has its flaws, right? That's why y'all got Mario over there, because Mario doesn't necessarily do the same thing as Sonic does. I personally think Sonic's a bit cooler, because it's, of course I think it's cooler, because it's catered to me basically. That's just how it is. So again, you will have things that will work outside of the Japanese space, but at the very same time, you're not necessarily going to see that with everything, and not everything from the Japanese side should be dedicated to what other people in other countries want. That just ultimately is what it is, right? Especially when it comes down to characters themselves, especially now. Like, I'm still glad, you know, sometimes you don't really get, you know, everything that you want, but I'm so glad, at least when it comes to the character designs, especially when it comes to the waifus, Japanese people still know how to make them look good. They know how to make them saucy still. And that's peak and good and great and all the things of the sort like that. Hella excited for April with a lot of new anime coming out, because I know there's going to be some saucy stuff that's coming out through that month. And it's going to be great. You know, it's going to be a good ass time. Something I can't really say for the West. There's not really a show in the West side even bother to watch outside of wrestling. That's literally the only damn thing I watch. And that's just how it is, because there's nothing else that's worth a damn. Back then they had shows. Now, can't say that. Japan, for me personally, is at its best when it is unapologetically just them. That's really all it is. To me, they're at their best when they are just not afraid and not necessarily being controlled to do whatever the hell, the Western audience want them to do. And it's best when they do what they think is right for their people and their culture and things that they want to see. And then we just jump in for the ride. That's how it has been and how it should be. The only reason why people are assholes now to a lot of what Japanese products is and to the very space that it brought about is because those very same people that essentially hated anime, don't really care for people that like it and stuff like that, bullies and asshole people like that, they jumped into this space and now they rule this space, unfortunately. And it's not very much that regular ass people can do except hopefully in some weird ass way rely on content creators to voice their opinions about certain things like this, and then hope and pray that some change can actually come. And that's just basically all we got. That is all we got. And then the crazy part again is, we have shit in the West that we can definitely use and bring back and be fine with, but they are so focused on this fake ass image of trying to be progressive, this fake ass image of trying to be diverse enough, this fake ass image of just caring about what people's feelings are and all that type of stuff. But in reality, if it's not what they feel, if it's not what they want, if it's not what exactly they care to see and all that type of stuff themselves, if they're not the ones calling the shots, then they don't care. It is crazy how anti-progressive people are in the Western side of the industry and then pretend that they actually are progressive. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. Hell, you're out watching in the background some ZZZ of Anby's whole ass story, right? I'm gonna just say this and close everything off. It is crazy to me how this story in the background, after playing it, is so damn amazing, so damn peak. This 1 hour or 2 hour long story is way better than anything that the West has made in the past 6 years. It's a damn shame. So when it comes down to it, China, South Korea, Japan, just make the shit that you want to make. Literally, we will follow. And that is how it should be. That is how it's done. Even if you want a global audience, literally still make the same shit that you want to make, and everybody will come along for the ride. That is how it should be. Granted, whatever company will follow this, I don't know, but it should still be the latter. It should be not the latter, but it should be the former. But that's, again, all I really want to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification on your way out. Also, follow me on the socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, boy J, signing off. Have a blessed day.